Guys, welcome to my brand new YouTube channel. It's called Good Vibrations. Um, I am a spiritual healer, counselor, non-denominational, ordained minister. I practice a healing technique called integrated awareness, and I've been using that for the healing work that I do for the past 30 something years. I belong to a couple pages on Facebook, which I will put the links to here. But this is brand new. I'm going to do a lot of talking. I've been doing so much personal counseling in the past few months that it became real clear to me that people are really going through a lot of it's it's a little crazy out there right now, and people are in need of like guidance or directions or advice or just someone to commiserate with and to try to understand what's going on a spiritual or energetic or emotional level. And there's a lot. So I'm going to be doing these YouTube videos. My first one that I'm doing tonight is up. We're going to talk a little bit about fear, and then I'm going to talk about some healing techniques, some things that we can do to kind of bring balance and grounding back into our experience, so that fear isn't, we don't carry it around like it's some baggage that we just can't put down. It doesn't have to be like that. And so if you enjoy this, please hit like and subscribe. And I would appreciate it because I'll be back with more. What I think I'm going to do is, because I just don't have time to get to everyone that needs services right now. So I think I'm going to just see what the pattern is for the week that people are coming to me for, and then maybe do some talking on that. But let's get to it. So Mark Twain said, I have been through some terrible things in my life, some of which actually happened. Basically, all that means is, it's a really kind of humorous way to say that fear and anxiety, they do take up a lot of room inside of us. And while it's a normal part of like the human experience, fear can be really helpful. It can help us to be more mindful. It can clue us into, the problematic aspects of the path that we're on, and it can spur us to pay like closer attention to our lives and the choices that we're faced with when we're having to make choices. So fear is not a bad thing. It's part of our survival instinct. It comes from like the oldest part of our brain. The amygdala is it's innate within us. It doesn't have to be unhealthy, but when fear becomes unhealthy, we when we allow it to take up too much space inside of us, when it begins to control our decisions, when it stops us from experiencing life in a very full, wonderful, loving way, then it's time for us to do grounding work and healing work to bring us back into balance with faith and trust. So when we experience emotional and physical trauma, whether it's in childhood, or emotional trauma from relationships, or dramatic or traumatic events that have happened to us, it leaves an energetic imprint that's left behind. Um, Even say if you've ever, if you've ever hurt yourself physically, um, you will notice long after you've healed that um, that certain things still trigger like a fear inside of you. Those kind of imprints that we have energetic or emotionally, they can actually create blockages that disable our ability to move forward in our lives in a healthy way. And so when fear blocks our faith in ourselves and our place in the world, um, it's really important to understand, like when those fears come up, that the things that we fear doing are pretty much the things that we need to do just in order to retrain, those energetic systems inside of us that, we automatically go, whoa, I'm not doing that because something bad is going to happen. And so um, we have to understand that our world's made of energy. We are made of energy. Um, when we face a fear, we typically see that the power we gave it was a waste of our time and our energy. And so, because we're manifestors, focus is the key. It really is, because we attract things to us um, from the most simple to the most complex. So, next time you're out, um, think about you're out driving around or walking around. Think about a red car. You'll begin to see them everywhere. Or a black car, whatever. What's your favorite color? You'll begin to see them everywhere because you're bringing your focus um, to something that you normally don't have any focus on. So next time you're out and about, play that little game and see how that doesn't. It just kind of brings everything back into focus. But the things we believe about ourselves and the world around us, it creates the world that's presented to us. So patterns. Are we always attracting those traumatic or dramatic relationships that I talked about? Does nothing ever seem to go our way? Do certain events or opinions always trigger like these visceral reactions inside of us? When we're presented with a fear, it's really important to ask ourselves, how does this serve me? Where is this coming from? Does this make my life better? Fearful thoughts and emotions, they really can obscure the larger truths of our lives, um, causing us to forget like the power of love and the kindness of others and this beautiful world that we live in. And most importantly, to forget our own goodness and our own wholeness, that are innate parts of us that we forget when we're living in such a physical, outward focusing world. So, most of us do experience ourselves as separate. Like, there's the me in here, and then there's the world out there. And that separateness causes us to recognize that we can be harmed by others physically, emotionally, spiritually, and it's in our very DNA to try to protect ourselves and to keep ourselves free from harm. That is normal. But as I said, we allow fear to take up so much space inside of us that it leaves very little room for good things, for healthy things, for trust and for faith. That everything that's happened to us in our lives, There's been one person who's gotten us through all that, and that's us. Your percentage rate, your survival rate for everything that's happened to you is 100% up until now. And if that doesn't give you the feeling that yes, something bad could happen, but I'm not making decisions based on it. I'm going to be mindful. I'm going to be safe. I'm going to think about my options and the consequences to the choices that are in front of me, but I'm not allowing fear to make the decision for me. I'm empowering me to do that. And so there are some things that we can do um, to bring ourselves kind of back in to balance and to create like an awareness and a mindfulness of the stories that we're telling ourselves, and and then we can determine if the stories that we're telling ourselves are true, if they're authentic, if they come from a place of love or if they come from a place of fear. And so the way to develop this muscle against fear is not to cast it out. Like I said, fear it's a part of our hardwiring, and it doesn't have to be a terrible thing. I mean, there are some new age spiritual teachers that will tell you that you have to defeat fear, and fear is part of darkness. And you know, I don't believe that at all. I believe that we are spiritual beings who came here to experience this physical existence. And in this physical existence, in these bodies that are hardwired from evolution, it just is what it is. And so learning to integrate the negative aspects of ourselves, things that we consider negative, back into kind of the fiber of our very being, so that everything's working well and everything's balanced and nothing's out, nothing is has taken control over, like our emotions haven't taken control over our lives and our decisions. That's really the goal. And it's much easier to do than to attempt to spend years and years trying to cast out fear or deny that it's there. And so it's addictive. Once we trigger fear, man, we keep going back. We'll keep coming back for more. And it's not helpful. It's not healthy. And again, like I keep reiterating, how does this serve me? How does this make me better? How does this make my life better? How does this make my relationships better? Fear, when it's out of control, when we're allowing it to make our choices for us, it really can cause a lot of traumatic situations for us. I have a client who she's in a very bad relationship, and she's afraid to leave because of financial considerations. She's afraid that she won't have enough money to take care of herself and her bills and the car and the car insurance. And so she continues to stay in a very harmful, very abusive relationship because she doesn't have faith in herself, that she can fix it, that she can manifest something better for herself, that she even deserves or is worth something better than what she's currently experiencing in her life. And so it's really important to find a way to balance, to bring that fear back down, integrate it into the fabric and the fiber of who we are. and allow our choices to come from an integrated being where we're not just choosing through fear, but we're using our mind and we're using our heart, and we're remembering the ability that we have to take care of ourselves, and we're remembering the ability of the people in this world to care for us and love us. And so a couple things just beginning, because we can really get down into some really heavy kind of healing work. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to throw those in the comment section, or even send me a private message. I get a lot of private messages, so because not everyone likes to talk about. They don't like to put all their tea on the table, and so I'm more than happy to answer any questions or to give you any feedback, or to kind of help you with solutions if that's what you're looking for. But so meditation. Now, a lot of people are afraid of meditation. Most of the people that I work with tell me that they've tried meditation and it just doesn't work. I fully believe that the purpose of meditation doesn't require us to have the patience and the silencing skills of like a Buddhist monk. Most people feel like they failed in meditation because they have learned somewhere along the way that the purpose of meditation is to silence your mind. The very people that would benefit most from meditation can't do that because, words are bouncing off the inside of their mind, and so it becomes very frustrating, and a lot of people feel like failures because they can't meditate the way they think they need to meditate in order to get any spiritual benefit. So I'm here to tell you, for my purposes, meditation is a way to stop and to breathe into the space that you're in. And even if you can only do it for a couple minutes a day, it will be beneficial to you. So we sit in a nice, quiet place. We don't say, I can't think anything. I'm not thinking anything. We just allow what is to be what is. We focus on some nice deep breaths, typically in through the nose. Fill up the lungs, bring it all the way down into the solar plexus, hold it there for a moment, and then exhale through the mouth. So it's just like, and just a couple minutes a day, whether it's at the beginning of your day or at the end of your day, just making a space and holding that space with your breathing, and just focusing on bringing that air in and out. It really kind of does help energize and bring your vibration up some, and that's really important. So that's a good thing to start. You don't have to do a meditation. Now I am gonna, here in a minute, I'm gonna suggest a meditation for you, but I'll get to that. So the frequencies, I've been working with frequencies for 35 years. The ones that I recommend are good for you to start are 432 megahertz, 528, 639, 852, and 963. You can pull those up on YouTube. They're free. Just type in, let's say 963 HZ. You will get hundreds of options. And I'll put a couple links in for some that I like, some of the frequencies that I like. I like a site called Meditative Mind. I'll put a link for that as well. But So listening to these frequencies, like the 432 is just a general, really good healing frequency to listen to. The 528 is really regenerative and restorative, like on a cellular level. The 639 and the 852 they're really good for people dealing with negativity and that, like I talked about here just a couple minutes ago, the negative things that we tell ourselves, the bad things that we believe about ourselves, the things that we believe about ourselves that don't serve us. It doesn't make our life better. It keeps us kind of stranded in this place where we just don't feel good about ourselves. Those are really good. Those two frequencies are really good for people dealing with that. And then the 963 is a really good frequency for people who are attempting to develop their spiritual energetic system, to find their connection to God, to the divine. That's a really good frequency to listen to. And it's also an extremely protective frequency. Darkness cannot abide the sound of 963. And I have personal experience that I can tell you it's true. It's true. I was doing a class on vibration, and there was a gentleman in there. He'd been a little unruly, a little disruptive. I wasn't even sure why he was there. I mean, he wasn't there to learn, because he was telling us all, like, what we should believe. And I did ask him at some point, I said, why are you here? And he said, I'm here to learn. And I said, oh no, you're not here to learn. And then I thought, Kelly, it might not be such a good idea to be confrontational with the people who've paid to come to classes. So I kind of just left that. I said, well, I'm going to play some frequencies now. And I had them all keyed up, and I just happened to hit the 963 first. And before I even had the chance to say, darkness can't abide the sound of 963, this guy went nuts. He grabbed his ears. He was violently shaking back and forth. He was yelling, turn it off, turn it off. I'm going to be sick. I'm going to be sick. And so I hit click, and then I looked around. There's like 25 people in the class. I looked around and I was like, what now? So, coffee break. And we got him all situated. Whatever was attached to him came after me later. But that's another story for another video. We're talking about fear right here, and I did learn a lot about like fear and spiritual things that that you can kind of delve into spiritually, that you really need to be more mindful of keeping yourself in a space of love and light, and how protective that is. And it might be one of my next videos. So those frequencies are amazing. There's also the 1000 megahertz frequency. It's a little high pitched, but if you just wake up and you're feeling a little bit out of sorts, you can play that for a minute, and it'll really clear up. It kind of clears that energetic junk that attaches to us. I liken us to dryers. You know how your dryer picks up all that lint from all those different articles of clothing? Well, we're kind of like that too, as energetic beings. And so it's important for us to do things to keep ourselves cleaned off, so that we can discern, if we're having an issue, is this really my issue, or is this because I'm an empath and I'm just picking up junk from other people? And in which case, it's not your responsibility to carry other people's junk around for them. And so to be able to discern between that is important. So then 1000 megahertz, it actually does a really good job of just kind of knocking that off and clearing you up pretty quick. Now, chakra work is really important to keep our chakras in balance. They don't all. I read auras. I've seen auras ever since I was a little girl, and when I look at someone and I look beyond the color, I see the energy system, and the chakras, and I've never seen every chakra resonating at the same frequency. Most people, even the most enlightened people, there will be differences, because no matter how enlightened we are, we have things that have happened to us in the past and issues that we deal with in the present, and those are all going to affect, whatever healing process we're going through. It's going to kind of affect the way those energy centers resonate, and that's normal and that's okay. But it's when we get like, and I've never seen a chakra completely blocked. I know I have people come to me all the time. I have a blocked chakra, and I need help. No, you don't have a blocked chakra. um, Typically, when someone says I have a blocked chakra, they have a gummy chakra, and that's just because there's like unresolved stuff that needs to be healed, and they're just not doing it. Um, and I don't want to say that like in a disparaging way, because a lot of people don't even know. Like, people that have dealt with childhood trauma don't necessarily know that, if they do the work on their root chakra and their sacral chakra and their solar plexus chakras, that'll go a long way to healing these triggers that keep reemerging in their lives. And so doing chakra work is really important. And there's a lot of things we can do. And I think I'm going to do a video just on chakras. So look, we've got 2 chakras and protection just coming up shortly. So there are 2 meditations, and I believe it's the same gentleman. They're crystal bowl chakra meditations on YouTube, and I will look for them and put the links in the comment section here. One is a quick 14-minute one, and one is like, I think it's a little bit over an hour. If you've got time to do the hour one, it's really good. If you don't have time to do the hour one or patience to do the hour one, the 14-minute one is perfecto. I've done the long one a few times, but it's much easier to do the 14-minute one. So journaling in the morning is also a really good way to help us become more in touch and in tune with ourselves. And so before you go to bed at night, think about, set your intention for advice. And your pen and your paper's there. You go, you sleep, you do your thing. You wake up in the morning, you pick up your pen and your paper or your notepad, and you just write a few sentences. Don't think about it. Don't analyze it. Just allow yourself to write. Do that every day for 7 days. And then on the 8th day, look back at everything you wrote and see how you feel about the things that you wrote. Did you find something helpful there? And if the answer to that is yes, and it usually is, then it's something that should become a part or one of your healing habits. Something that you do. You don't have to do it every day. But they do say, if you could do something every day for 21 days, you can make it a habit. So we have a lot of bad habits. Why not consciously set our intentions to create good habits? I'm just saying. Mirror work is really good too. Looking at that person in the mirror without So basically, what I'm trying to say is we look in the mirror and we pick ourselves apart. We see, the first thing we see is everything we don't like about ourselves. It's the very first thing we see. These negative um, things that we tell ourselves and that we believe about ourselves, um, they don't really belong to us. And so it's important. It's important. Now is the time to get rid of all of the baggage that's not even ours. Um, we take the events that have happened to us, and rather than experience them fully, so many of us just kind of box them up and put them in some little compartment inside of ourselves and pretend like everything's okay just in order so that we can keep moving forward. Well, honey, you ain't a storage unit. At some point, you're going to have to pull that stuff up, examine it, take what you can take to learn from the things that have happened to you, and then let the rest go. You need to make room within your being for more love and more light. That's where your faith and your trust in yourself come from. And so, mirror work, looking at that person in the mirror and looking at the person looking back at you right in the eyes, and you say, I love you. And you just look and allow yourself to experience that. It's very powerful. It's a very powerful tool that we have, but it's very difficult for a lot of people to do. But again, 21 days. Mantras about love and trust and faith. We know intellectually everything that's ever happened to you, you've gotten yourself through it. Nobody else has gotten you through it. You've gotten yourself through it. Everything. Your survival rate for everything that's ever happened to you is 100%. And if that doesn't give you faith that whatever may come, whatever you may experience, you've got the grace, you've got the wherewithal, you've got the smarts, intellectual and street smarts, to get yourself into a more safe and a more healthy place in your life. And so that's really important. Sitting in silence and sending intentions of love to yourself. So much fear really does, if we like really dig, so much fear really comes from like a lack of self-love. And so sending love to yourself, telling yourself you love yourself in the mirror, taking a moment, being mindful of the emotional and spiritual needs that you have in order to be the best version of yourself that you can be is really important. And then checking in before you make decisions. Is this good for me? How does this help me? How is this going to help me? Does this serve my highest good? Is this the most loving choice I can make for myself? Or, am I choosing to see this person because I just don't want to be alone? That is a decision that comes from a really limiting fear, where we have no compassion for ourselves. We're saying, I'm going to trade off my sense of compassion and self-love to just be with someone who I know can't provide that for me, just because I don't want to be alone. That's not a good choice, and it's not a healthy choice. And it's important that we understand like the difference between being alone and being lonely. Huge difference. And so it's really important before we make decisions, especially when we're in kind of a healing mode. It's really important for us to stop and give ourselves those moments to breathe into the space that we're in before we make a decision, before we make a choice, and ask ourselves those really important questions. Is it good for me? Is it in my best interest? And so that's it. That's what I've got for today. If this was helpful for you, if you've got any feedback, please let me know. Hit like and subscribe. And when I upload my next video, I don't know if it's going to be about protection or balancing chakras, but you will be notified as soon as I do that. Thank you for letting me spend time with you. And thank you for being here for my first video. And I will see you soon.